In 2022, I had a big project in East Africa for which I wanted to sell some second-hand excavators. I went and looked at some excavators which had been used on HS2. Sadly, flicking through the telematics system, I could see that one excavator was showing operating hours of 3,500 and usage hours of 700. In essence, that means for the 3,500 hours that the engine was running, it was only actually digging for 700 hours. This is due to the fact that in their absolute lack of commercial wisdom, the Conservative government gave the contractors on HS2 cost plus contracts. What that means is they said, right, you're responsible for doing that part of HS2, submit all your expenses and we'll give you a certain margin on top of those expenses. So what did the contractors do? They jumped into excavators, turned the ignition on and then left them running all day and then gave the receipts as part of the expenses. I told a builder friend of mine this and he immediately nodded and he said, Andrew, you're absolutely right. My son drives an articulated dump truck on HS2. It needed servicing. So what he did was he drove it in for servicing and he sat in the cab with the engine running while it was being serviced for 3 hours. So of course, the ADT then shows that day that it was on for 8 hours, even though it was only working for 5 hours and being serviced for 3, but then they could charge the British taxpayer for 8 hours work that day. I also mentioned this to a lady the other day and she says, yeah, we're very good friends with someone who rents out vehicles and machinery onto HS2 and they sit in the office looking at the telematics and can see that these machines are there idling. Basically, people are just switching on the ignition and leaving them running and the taxpayer is footing the bill. We've spent at least 65 billion on HS2. I haven't even seen a train leave a station yet. Let's just do some simple maths on my excavator example. Operating hours, 3,500. Usage hours, 700. This means 2,800 hours with the engine idling, not digging. Average fuel consumption, 10 litres per hour. 2,800 multiplied by 10 is 28,000 litres of diesel. Diesel price, £1.50 per litre. 28,000 litres multiplied by 1.5 equals £42,000 for all the diesel used while the excavator was idling and not digging. Let's put that into perspective. Someone earning £80,000 a year pays £19,432 in income tax. The entire income tax revenue gained from two people earning £80,000 per year went to pay for diesel to power that excavator while the engine was switched on but there was no operator inside. But don't worry, justice has been done because the person in charge of HS2 initially, Chris Grayling, has been promoted to the House of Lords. What kind of meritocracy is that? The person running a project that arguably is Britain's biggest ever waste of taxpayers' money gets promoted to the House of Lords. So this is just another example of how we have governments who aren't commercially minded. There's abuse of PPE contracts, abuse of contracts on HS2, abuse of contracts for difference by the wind farm operators, and we, the British taxpayer, are absolutely fleeced and have to foot the bill for all of these poorly negotiated contracts by consecutive governments. We therefore don't need higher taxation, we need governments instead to act competently and with some commercial wisdom when setting contracts with counterparties.